Here's a story from Fox News. Trump reacts after leaked recording shows him discussing classified documents. Former president tells Fox News Digital he did nothing wrong in secret document case. I have the audio here. Let's play it.
Sick people.
That was your coup, against you.
Well, it started right at the
like
beginning.
when Milley's talking about, you were going to try to do a coup. No, they were trying to do that before you even were sworn in.
That's right.
Trying to overthrow your election.
Well, with Milley, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look. This was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him. Wow. We looked at some. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All sorts of stuff. It's pages long. Look. Wait a minute. Let's see here.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case,
Mm-hmm.
Except it is like highly confidential, secret. This is secret information. But look at this. You attack, and
Hillary would print that out all the time,
she'd send it, no, she'd send it to Anthony Weiner, the pervert. By the way, isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
I was just saying, because we were talking about it, and he said he wanted to attack Iran and what? These are the papers. This was done by the military, given to me. I think we can probably, right?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to
Declassify.
figure out
See, as president, I could have declassified
Yeah.
it. Now I can't, but this is
Yeah,
classified.
now we have a problem.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
It's so cool. I mean, it's so. We here and I have, and you probably almost didn't believe me, but now you believe me.
No, I believe
It's
you.
incredible.
So there you go. That's basically it. And here's why I brought this up. For one, it is a big story. But my point is this. Hillary Clinton had top secret information on her private servers. Mm-hmm. She had her phone smashed with hammers, and she used an open source purging software to destroy all of those public records. Comey said no reasonable prosecutor would bring these charges. Joe Biden had classified documents in multiple locations. Maybe they'll bring charges against him. Doesn't seem likely. But Hillary is the really obvious one. Mm-hmm. Before an election, Comey said, no, we're not going to do that. That's ridiculous. And she wasn't even the president. Donald Trump has classified documents, and they say, give him 10 years. The View is screaming, lock him up 10 years. This is the point about anything pertaining to legality or law. It doesn't matter what you think is right and what should be done. What matters is people with power wield it. The left certainly understands that. The right has this problem of being like, but is it allowed? And the left is just like, do it anyway. And that's where we're at. The Biden DOJ going after Trump on charges that the Obama DOJ would not bring against Hillary.
Yeah, well, I kind of want. Can I ask you a few questions about this, just
Sure,
as a lawyer?
absolutely.
So when Trump says I could have declassified them or should have declassified them, is that an admission that he didn't declassify them properly, and is that going to be held against him?
Well, look, I think that one of the things that we're all missing is the context of these papers that you can hear in the background. What is it that he's actually looking at, and what is he actually flipping through? Right? I mean, it's is he flipping through some kind of a description? Is he flipping through some kind of a picture? I mean, we don't know what was actually in front of them. But I think one of the things that matters here is what Tim just pointed out, which was Donald Trump was the president of the United States. Hillary Clinton was only the Secretary of State. Joe Biden, the records that he's talking about are records he got as vice president or previously as a senator, right? And so classified documents are controlled by the president of the United States. Documents are only classified, secret, top secret, confidential, because of an executive order from the president of the United States. All classification authority derives from the president, with one limited exception set by Congress about atomic energy related documents. And so you have this whole kind of that's one angle, and a lot of people have been talking about that. But one of the things that I think is an interesting thought that I hope folks start to think through is you have all this discussion right now about, oh my goodness, President Trump violated the Presidential Records Act, and those weren't his documents, and he couldn't have those documents. Those are the people's documents. And I'm sorry, for me, from coming from a first principles standpoint, under the Constitution, the Congress of the United States has no authority to tell the President of the United States which papers are his and which papers aren't, right? That is ultimately, under the Constitution, the President of the United States has to have that power to decide which documents are his. And so if he has that power, then how can he, and then he takes those documents with him, which is the standard practice of presidents for almost 200 years. George Washington took his papers with him after he left office, and it was actually the subject of a court case later on down the line. He deeded them to his nephew. So how is it now that we fast forward and Congress passes this Presidential Records Act in 1978, Jimmy Carter signs into law and says, oh, well, these are all the people's records, and the president no longer has, kind of an ultimate say-so. If the president possesses the documents from the first instance and has that absolute authority to do so, then how can he be prosecuted under the Espionage Act for unlawful possession of these documents? It's insane. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
But not only that, first, we're gonna find out in a week or so that there's something more to this video where, like, right after this clip, Trump goes, I mean, these aren't actually any of the real documents. These are just, memos. It'll be something like that.
Right.
And you'll be like, oh, I wonder why that context wasn't provided, because the media does this all the time. But then let's get down to it. Let's get down to it. First, what does this audio prove, if anything? Donald Trump is an idiot? Maybe. Is that it? Is it criminal? It's not. I'll tell you, in 2 seconds, Trump's legal team is going to be like, he was bragging. He was lying. They're not. It's not real. Those are the papers you hear in that audio weren't even those real papers. Where was this audio recorded? Oh, it was in this room. The papers were in a different place the whole time. You can't see anything. You can't hear anything. Someone saying something about, look at these papers, they're secret, doesn't prove he actually had secret papers and showed them to anybody.
Right.
So it's circumstantial at best. It is bad for Trump. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But they're acting like it's this big bombshell. And my thing is, you know what I think? I think Trump was just speaking off the cuff and being a braggart. And then when it actually came down to the legal matter, he said, look, I'm the president. They're declassified because I say so. And that's his argument now. I don't think this tape does anything. All that's going to happen is if you're on the left, you're going to think it's a bombshell. If you're on the right, you're going to say it's stupid. And I'll tell you this. If the left says Trump must get 10 years for this, actually they do. Let me pull up the little article here we got from Mediaite. Lock him up already. The View gets wild as host suggests Trump selling docs. Predict he gets 10 years in prison. Okay. All right, I'm down. Yeah. Hillary's next in line. Let's get it. And now, of course, we can get Obama on that, killing that 16-year-old American citizen. Bring them all. Bring them all. Let's lock them all up.
She said that
Joe Biden next.
He was selling documents?
I mean, it's just, these people are insane.
Oh.
But the point is, the reason why this tape doesn't matter is because we know Hillary Clinton had top secret information. We know that she had no authority to have it. We know that she had phones with the records on them destroyed with hammers. We know that she had the server purged with BleachBit. And Comey said no reasonable prosecutor would bring charges on this. So then, am I supposed to think it's reasonable for Trump to be charged? No, of course not.
Well, I'm curious, again, as a lawyer, what do you think this does in a court of law? Like this kind of evidence?
I mean, it really depends on what gets admitted. And there's all kinds of tests for what gets admitted and what gets heard and what the jury can see, assuming it goes to a jury. But again, Tim's exactly right. His lawyers go in and they start punching holes in this. Well, how do you know? What documents was he talking about? Do we have witnesses who can recall and they'll take the stand and they'll testify, oh yeah, it was this precise document that was marked top secret, no foreign, your eyes only document, and he was showing us all of these precise battle plans. No. I mean, I very highly doubt that, and Tim's exactly right. Every time we see one of these things play out, which is I think what most Americans recognize now, is that every time we see one of these allegations, is whether it's 3 days or 3 years down the line, there's more to the story. And the left just keeps coming at him and coming at him and coming at him with everything that they have. And it's always, this is the last straw. This is the death knell for Donald Trump.
The walls are closing in.
The walls are closing in. And every time there's more to it. And I think that the left is destroying its own credibility the more that they do this, because the average Americans sitting at home, Kansas, Georgia, Nevada, wherever, they see this and they say, why do they keep going after this guy? This doesn't make sense. Like they just keep coming after him. It's counterintuitive. It doesn't make any sense to them.
I do want to give a special shout out to Donald Trump for trusting the corporate press all the time. He just loves allowing these people to come in all the time and just let him record him and all this stuff. He keeps giving them interviews. It's wonderful, isn't it?
I don't get. That's the part of it I don't get. I never
But
got.
It
To
He
go
could've had
back
a
to
YouTube channel.
the initial segue to this is my point. When we were talking about the borders and Oklahoma banning abortion, Colorado allowing it, it doesn't matter what you think the law is. We talked about this the other day. Cohabitation in West Virginia is illegal. Are they going to bring charges against you? Only if they want to search your residence. Show me the man, I'll show you the crime. So let's say you're in West Virginia and you're an activist and the state's like, this person's causing us problems. Can we find a crime that'll give us a justification for searching their residence? They're cohabitating. That's illegal. Boom, we got them.
I still want to look up that law. I haven't been able to find it.
So like cohabitation is in living with someone of the opposite sex you're not married with or in
Yeah.
a relationship with. Based.
For like, I couldn't find the law. Yeah, I agree. It's not about doing what's right. But the reason I was concerned with the whole setting up border checkpoints thing is because I'm looking ahead at what problems that could arise from a social movement to install border patrol, whether or not it's legal, whether or not it's righteous, that it could end up causing more unnecessary spying on the people themselves that, unexpectedly, they didn't realize what they had unleashed on themselves by creating some sort of patrol office around them. You pulling up that law?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's this is weird.
So yeah, how long is this?
Lewd and lascivious cohabitation when persons presumed to be unmarried is the law, 6184.
Based.
But it does say whether married or not afterwards.
Interesting. Oh, so like you're doing lewd and lascivious things even within the context of marriage. They're basically saying you're being a freak.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.